Hey guys, Tarek with CycloneFPV. How y'all doing? I putting a quick video together for a customer of mine that is using the Brain Radix flight controller, and he's actually going to be using a 4-in-1 ESC. And what's unique about this is that the 4-in-1 ESC does not have a 5-volt output on it, and the Brain flight controller, the Radix, does require it. So I figured the easiest thing to do would be to show you how to set that up, go over a couple things. Hey Bryce, how's it going, bud? I actually, I still haven't slept since yesterday, so I almost lost track of time here. Barely made it in time for this thing. So I'm kind of running on little fumes here, but I wanted to put this video together and help him out. And so we're gonna go over that real quick, try to knock this out for you guys, and get some things set up here. So let me get the board here on the table. Give me 1 second, and I will get this all taken care of, and we shall make this work somehow. So 1, 2, move that over here, and there we go. All right, so I did pull a new board, which is sitting right here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over some of the features on the board and how you're gonna hook it up, the camera setups and everything, but I'm just gonna kind of wire it from the table. So let me get, well, I did pull this. This is the Radix PDB, or the Brain, yeah, this is the PDB, the 8S that can go with it. And I will grab a couple more little things here so I can go over a couple of the features and show you what you would do if you were going to be connecting a 5-volt inverter if you don't have one. Because the problem is here is this board has two options. You can, when you get the Radix board, right, you're going to get the option to have, hey Michael, how you doing, bud? You're going to get the option, let me put this screen here so I can zoom in, to have the ribbon that comes with it, like this one. And so for a lot of people that have combined this with Hobbywing, the initial Hobbywing 40 amp ESC, this ribbon was fine. On the 45 amp ESC, you have to modify it because it does not put out the voltage like this one did. Or you can use the PDB comes with this cable right here, which is made to integrate perfectly into it. The problem is the board does require you to put 5 volts into it. If you don't have that, you're going to use the bottom set of the board pins right here, or the pads right here, and you're going to bring the 5-volt in here. If your flight controller or your 4-in-1 ESC does not have a 5-volt output, then you've got to get it from somewhere. And so in this case, you would be using a drop-down converter to go from the 12-volt or whatever voltage your LiPo is down to 5 volts so that it can run on here. If you don't do that, what you'll end up having is the board will actually power up when you plug in your USB because you're getting 5 volts, but then when you try to unplug it and go fly, you're not going to get anything off your board because it cannot function without it because it has no 5-volt input coming in. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And he had a question about connecting the camera, so I'm going to show you how to wire that up. And that should pretty much tie it up. It should be pretty easy to knock out for the day. And so let me get all that ready and grab an ESC. Give me 1 second, and we will be ready to go. All right. So I believe that this is actually going to be the, if I'm not mistaken, this is the ESC he's using, something similar to this right here. This is the Racer Star 35 amp 4-in-1. There is no, I'm going to grab these, let me grab a harness real quick. I think I've got a harness here for it. Let me just run it. Let me just grab a new one here just for the sake of the video. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and prep the board. Sorry, I was just trying to get some things situated there. So let me go ahead and prep the board here real quick. And again, I know that he had some questions about the soldering. So make sure you get your flux paste or flux pen. And in this case, I'm using the SRA number 99. You can find that on Amazon. So just do a search for a flux pen, and then just make sure you get the number 99 version. So in this case, you want to go ahead and get the board prepped. So I'm going to not use the harness that comes with the board. I'm really not in favor of the harness. So I'm just going to go ahead and lightly go over the pads, and I'll just go ahead and do all of them for the purpose if I ever do come back and solder on this board. I know that the pads have already been prepped. All right, and all right, so that's going to be good on this side. And whether or not I use this side or not, I have no idea at this point. Depends on what options he needs me to go over, but I'm going to go ahead and get it done anyway, so I don't have to come back and do it. Once that's applied, first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and demonstrate how we're going to get this part done. So what we do know for a fact is that on this board, if you're not using the harness, which in this case we're not going to, you need to go ahead and prep your signal pads and everything else. And so you will do so in the following way. Let me clean the tip of this real quick, 1 second. There we go. Let me just brush this solder off. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and apply this and tin this up real quick. So let me do signal 4, signal 3, 2, 1. Here's your 5-volt input, ground, current, ground, and there you go. Okay, so this is where we go to start, is we're going to get all these ready. All right, now on the board here, and I'm going to kind of flip it over, because if you ever look at the manual online, the manual is actually going to have it sitting kind of like this with the USB facing you, and the way they're going to display that is you will have your if you're using, like, say, a FrSky, for example, so you're going to use your ground and your power right here. And then if you're going to be using your F port, I'm not really an F port fan. I've had some issues with the F port, but you would be using your you're going to be using your TX6, which would be, let me see if I can get a little pointer here. So you're going to use ground positive, and then you would skip 2, and then you're going to go to TX6 right here. All right, and on this side is where you're dealing with your video. So you have your one of the questions you had for me was, what are you doing with the OSD on the camera? Now, this board offers you 2 options. You have OSD on the camera, then you have OSD from your flight controller itself. All right, I've told him not to worry about the camera OSD because it's not a major issue, but I'm going to show you guys how to do that, because we'll be using the OSD from the flight controller itself. So I'm going to grab a wire harness for this real quick, and I will be right back, and we will go ahead and start wiring this one up and take that from there. Let's see. All right, so I'm just going to grab this harness. I've used it already before, so it's kind of cut a little bit. The wires are a little bit different lengths, but it'll still apply for what I need. And so this wire harness is actually going to go into the ESC, and we're going to leave that right there. And then what I need you to see is that on this board, you will be using, if you're putting your controller on, right, so you're going to be using the following options on this side if you're going to be using your S-bus and your S-port. So I need to get this stuff out of the way. Okay, so your S-bus is going to go still on your I'm sorry, let me turn this so you guys can read it, I think. So you've got your RX3 right here. So you're going to go ground, power, S-bus, right? And then you will still, if you want to run your S-port, you will still go to TX6 if you're going to run your S-port to this quad. If not, though, you will use these 3 wires here, and I'll go ahead and get that set up for you as well. As far as the ESC goes, to get your channels wired up, you're going to want to follow the pattern of the cable here. I know he's using this one, so I'm going to reference this one. So you will have your ground, then you will have channel 1, which is going to be your light blue, channel 2 is going to be your orange, channel 3 will be your green, and channel 4 will be your yellow. Make sure to connect those, and I'm going to go ahead and do that now for you so you can see. In this case, because they're all right next to each other, the size of the wire doesn't, oh man. Hi, Nicole. There's a nice to have you back from New Mexico, Nicole. Guys, that's Nicole. That is my wife's best friend, and she is popping in because she feels like hazing me, I'm sure. Hello, Nicole. How are you? I'm going to go ahead and trim these wires real quick. I'm nervous as to what's going to come out of that woman's mouth right now, whatever she types, but we're at her mercy. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and trim these wires here real quick and show you guys what we're going to do there and what the end result should look like. All right, enough, Nicole. Thank you. Oh, by the way, guys, if you want, you can congratulate Nicole. She's moving into her new apartment and getting all her crap out of our house. Thanks, Nicole. We appreciate you very much. So this size doesn't matter. All right, so we're just going to look. I don't know. I guess it's like throwing a Coke bottle in the Grand Canyon, Nicole. I don't know. All right, let me see if I can do this here. This is going to be pleasant. I'll try to make this video as short as possible then, so we don't have to keep doing this. All right, so make sure you tin your wire up. And let's go ahead and prep that. I assume my wife is in the other room laughing right now at this, so that's great. All right, once you're done tinning the wires up, get the excess solder off. Okay, so like I was saying, you've got your ground and then you've got your channels 1 through 4. And so we're going to utilize this here. And we're going to go with we're going to skip the 5-volt spot right here, but we're going to go ground, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go ahead and knock that out. There's your ground. Let's do channel 1. Channel 2. Channel 3. And this will be your last channel right here. All right, so you've got your wires now. So this is what, if you're using, for example, this ESC or anything else that's going to have these wires for you, this is what you're looking for right here. What we need to do is get this 5-volt handle, right? Because you're still not going to have, Nicole, thanks for being my storage unit. I'm done. Bye. Hate that voice. Have a good night. All right. I'm going to take this 5-volt converter off of here because we don't need it on here right now. And I know that he's got this actually because I wired this part onto his board before I shipped it. So this will look very familiar to him here in just a second. So what you're going to do here, Bryce, I'm using the Xtronic 5040 XTS. It is my favorite station, hands down. It's a rework station. I love it. So in his case, to get the 5-volt when you don't have it, like I said, you have to use a step down. Well, I call it a step down. I don't know what the terms are that they use. I've seen different ones, but step down converter basically. So I'm going to take it from the the 4S or 5S or whatever you're using and drop it back down to just a 5 volts. So let me go ahead and get these wires ready, show you what we're going to do with this, and then show you how you're going to get your 5 volts out of this, okay? I'm going to go ahead and double check this real quick before I do the soldering to make sure that I'm at the 5-volt mark. Okay, bear with me 1 second while I test this out. Let me get my multimeter here. Now I know that I had one that was not functioning, so I just want to make sure this is next. I think I threw it out, but I don't want to waste my time on this one if this is it. Let me go ahead and check. Okay, so let me see if I get a reading out of here. All right, so that's going to be, let me get this one off, turn this off, and we will finish this step now. And then that pretty much is going to wrap it. So let me just go ahead and pull this real quick. I'll take this one then. Hey Alex, no, I have not slept yet. No time for sleep. I have been dealing with a bunch of stuff today and did not get a chance to catch some Z's yet, but that's okay. Going 3 days, I'll get some tomorrow, I think. As soon as I get done with some work, I got a lot of that website work that I had to get done. All right, let me make sure this one's good. And then I'll get some sleep. Always can catch up later. All right, there's our 5 volt. That's what I wanted. Okay, so on my DC converter here, I put in 12 volts on the end, and I got 5 volts out. So that's what we're looking for. I had known that I had one that was damaged. I just want to make sure I didn't use it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and prep our step-down converter here. So let me get this out of the way. Get this ready. Now I'm gonna leave these wires long, only because I'm not fitting this in a quad right now. But you can do, you do it however you want. What you're going to do is on your input, which is going to be on this side here. So what I did is I utilized, because he's going to run his XT60 off of here, I utilize this pad here. So I'm just going to take these and go ahead and solder them directly onto that pad. All right, so there we go with our 5-volt inverter. And then the way this would sit, I'm going to go ahead and put the 5 volts on here as well. And there's another option for ground on here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that onto the ground as well. And that's going to get this right here. Let me pre-tin this wire real quick. So we're going to use one part to go to the ground right here, or to the 5 volt. And then we can utilize the other ground here and put it right back on the ground as well. All right, so at the end, this is what you're looking for. What you should have, and what you should end up with, is something wired similar to this. You've got your 5 volt inverter. This is your output, this is your input. You've got your ground from it, and you've got your, let me see if I can get a little bit better shot of that. All right, and there we go. So you've got your ground from your 5 volt inverter, you got your 5 volt inverter positive, your ground from your ESC, and then your channels right here. All right, so that's where we're at for this part for now. And now what I want to do is go to the, I know we had the question, I want to make sure we cover the receiver side. So I don't remember what receiver he's using, but we're going to assume that we're going with FlySky on this one. And so on this one, it's going to be pretty simple. You're going to use the 3 in a row here. So on your receiver, let me turn this around. You will have the following. You're going to be using, you've got your ground, your positive, and then you've got your receiving UART3, and that's what you're going to use for your FlySky. So we're going to go ahead and prep those pads real quick. Now, if you want to get your S port connected, then you will go ahead and use your UART 6 transmit, which would be right here. All right. And then I'm going to grab a FrSky receiver that I can utilize all those functions on and show you how I would hook that up. I've got one in my hand here, but I don't think I've got the harness for it. So let me see if I can find that real quick. And if not, I will just grab another one out of the box. Hold on one second. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. Just need anything that will have the wires I need, so I think maybe that'll work. Let me see. We're good on this one. That's a perfect fit. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to show you how this one's going to work. And this is the X4R. Now, unfortunately, this one, I would pick the one that doesn't have S-Bus, but it doesn't matter. I'm just going to show you how to hook this up anyway, okay? So let me go ahead and get that ready. And then on this side, you're going to be doing your VTX and everything else here. So let me get the harness set for that, and I'll be right back. Okay, I was hoping I had a harness here. I was looking for it. Don't have this one, so I'll just use what I've got on here. All right, so as far as doing your VTX, or as far as doing your receiver, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this because this is not going to help me much right now anyway. So, assuming we've got this working like here, this is what you would do. And just go with me on this wiring because it'll apply no matter how you do this. So we're going to use the white as our S-Bus, the yellow as our S-port, and we are going to use the black and red, obviously, for our ground and our positive. And this is how you would connect this on here. Let me just get these wires stripped and tinned real quick. And then you will do your video, your VTX with your smart audio, which I'm going to show you that in a second. Okay, so let me tin this up, and this is how we're going to do the next part. Let me clean the tip of this real quick. All right, let me zoom out now. You guys see how we're going to do this. So we're going right here on the board. Now, remember, our USB is underneath on this side, so if you need that for orientation. So I'm going to go ahead and get this connected. So we're going to go ahead and connect the ground first. We're going to go ahead and take our 5-volt, solder that next. And then, again, we're going to go with our S-Bus next, which goes to RX3. And then we're going to go with our S-port, which goes to TX. That's 6, right? That is a 6. Yep. So let me put that in there. Okay. So this is what your receiver would look like if you're running S-Bus and you're running your S-port. Okay? So that's that connection there. So now your receiver's connected. So now we've got the ESC, the flight controller, the receiver, and the only thing left is going to be the VTX. I believe, if I'm lucky, I've got a VTX sitting somewhere around here. And I do. And for the purpose of getting this done, I'm just going to grab an HGL-RC that I was working on for another build. And this will kind of make this a little easier. What? What does that say? What PIDs are you running on that chair? I don't think I understood. What are you talking about? On what chair? Sorry, I am a little slow today, so make sure to let me know. All right, I'm going to remove this DVR from here because we're not going to be using the DVR, so let me just get this off. And I'm actually going to maintain these wires because they're going to be the same no matter what. So let me just pull those, and we'll show you how to connect your smart audio. This cable. I'm just going to try to get this from underneath. There we go. All right. Okay, so now it's time to get our VTX connected. And so for our VTX, if we're going to be using smart audio, then we will do the following. So we're going to take our ground on this side of the board, our 5 volt. All right, and then if you want to run your smart audio, you are going to make sure that you're going to be selecting the proper protocol for it. And so let me get this thing. I need to get my stuff framed here. Oh man, sorry Bryce. I was like, what are you talking about? My bad. I apologize. Guess I'm moving a little slow. All right, so we're going to flip it onto our above here, and you can use, now they don't recommend that you, I mean, you don't have to tap into this board. You can tap into the PDB or 4-in-1, but in this case, it depends on what kind of voltage your VTX is going to be taking. Because this is going to run a 5 volt input for me, I'm fine with that for this example, then I would not worry about it too much. So you're going to go to TX1 for your smart audio, which is on this side right here, all right? And then this is your video out right here. And this is what you're going to want to be putting in to your VTX, because that's where your OSD is going to come from. So remember now, smart audio is TX1, and this is where you're going to go with this. And then here you go as far as your video in. This is where your camera will connect. And then here is some power for your camera if you like. All right, so let me go ahead and just knock that right there. All right. Now, this is going to be a pretty simple connection. So let me grab a harness here and a camera. I'm going to use this box here that I've got sitting here. That should pretty much satisfy the example. Let me open up. Yeah, let me do that. I'll just use whatever. It really doesn't matter on this one. I just need a small harness to be able to wire this up. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the VTX real quick. Now, depending on the VTX, you can go straight. You can go straight to it for a power source if you'd like. I need to turn this just a little bit. All right. So what we're going to do is, on this VTX, we know it's ground. So we'll take our ground. And they say you can attach it to the 4-in-1 if you want, but I'm just going to do this for the sake of getting it some power here. You can tap on either side. I'm just going to go ahead and do it here right now, or else, if not, you would go straight to the 4-in-1, which is sitting right here. But this is where you'd also tap your camera too if you wanted, but I'm going to take the camera to here. Depending on the VTX you're using, you can go that route. Okay, and then this is going to be our smart audio. And that's going to go to TX1 right here. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what you're looking at here. And then the only other thing left is going to be your video out to video in, which we'll go ahead and wire that up real quick. Let me get a small cable, nothing. Here we go. I'll use this one. Mike, look at you. How you doing, bud? You seem to be the math wizard, I guess. Yes, sir. How you doing tonight? All right. So we are going to take the video out, and just make sure you get it to your video in on your VTX. Now again, this is using the XJB TX20. And that is how we would be looking as far as getting our video feed going. From here, we can get out to our camera if we want to. And so I'm going to go ahead and wire that just for example, to show you how that would look. And I will just take like a, let me see, I'll take this one. I think this will be enough. It should be fine. So let me go ahead and do my ground now. Don't worry about the wire pattern. For this example, I'm just going to go ahead and wire this up so you can see it. So on the camera, I don't need to touch the camera right now, but on the camera, what we're going to do is we're going to take our, where's my snippers at here? Here we go. Go ahead and strip this wire. Oh, Mike, I don't mind you, bud. You call it however you want. I like guys that try to show their power on the web. It makes me have a good day, bud. I'm not worried about it. I'm pretty laid back around here. But I'm pretty sure if you go and start browsing our videos, you might see somewhere 33,000 people actually watched it. But if you don't have time for that and only time to stop by and talk, then you're doing a very good job right now. What do they call that? Just guys that have nothing better to do, I guess. But you're welcome to do that if you have nothing better going on. All right, so on the camera side, your video input for your camera will go right here. And then now I'm going to feed my power from the VTX here just to kind of get it going. And so we will take our, we have our 5 volt out and our ground. And so our 5 volt out is going to be right here. And our ground. Okay. There we go. All right, okay, so now we've got our setup, and from here we would connect our camera. So when you're doing this on your quad, right, you want to make sure, and make sure to reference this here. Let me flip that over for you. So you've got your 5 volt converter right there. You've got everything wired up for your receiver right here. You've got your VTX wired in, and for that you're going to see the other side. All right, and you will have, if you want to run your OSD on your camera, you can control it through the CC connection right here. Hey, don't worry about Mike, man. Listen. I learned a long time ago, and it please don't give Mike much attention. What do they call them, trolls? I mean, Mike, I don't know what his deal is, but please leave him alone. He's not, I want to help the customer and not worry about some flea that's got nothing better to do. So make sure that you hook this up accordingly, and then you can feed it off your VTX, or you can feed it off the board for your power. In this case, depending on your VTX, I'd probably go this route and just feed it off the VTX, and you'll be pretty safe. Don't forget, though, you want to still put your cap on, so make sure you put your capacitor here. You then don't need the wire harness there, and then you've got your option for your LED and so forth, but I wouldn't worry about it. In this case, I don't think you're wiring that up. So hopefully this gives you the explanation of how to wire it. I'm going to leave this here so you can take a look at it and maybe take a screenshot. But that should settle it for you. And everything should be good to wire it like this. But if you have any questions, let me know. And I think that pretty much does it. Any questions? Anybody got any questions? Hold on, let me flip this over now. I think that pretty much should settle his wiring on his setup. So let me go here, and there we go. All right, so Jordan, I think that's going to take care of what you need. and get you taken care of as far as getting your connection to your Racer Star 35 amp ESC and connecting your VTX and your BrainFPV. And I believe you are using the FlySky receiver, so you should be good there. For everybody else, remember I'm doing a video a day, so if you have a question and you want to see something aired or you need some help with something, let me know, and we'll get it taken care of. And for the little fleas like Mike, hey man, I appreciate you. Pretty much would like to have you back as long as you've got nothing better to do than try to crunch numbers, Mr. Chin. But as far as for everybody else, I think you're kind of wasting their time. But man, you know, I like fleas because they can hide behind the internet keyboard like a bunch of douchebags. For everybody else, guys, I appreciate you all tuning in. It was a quick video, trying to take care of the customer, and that's what we're about. And we'll talk to you soon. See you later. Bye.